Greetings all, Hairy Nick here, and welcome to a PDF document because we finally have the new X-Wing FAQ. Yes, it's been rumoured for so long. We can finally talk about that leak on the channel. I'll do that in a separate video because I just want to keep this pretty succinct. The timing on this, for me, couldn't be worse because I have about 1,000 things to do for PAX. There'll be a Guns for Hire unboxing tonight, as well as videos over the next 3 days for the PAX tournaments, that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to have a quick read through this so you guys know what's going on. Next week with Justin, when we have a proper sit down and record session, we'll have a bit of a further discussion about some of the things in this FAQ. But let's look through everything that has just changed, one by one, as it appears in the new FAQ. So most of the upgrades here appear in the meta. They really want to wipe out all the things that are hitting the top tier in terms of tournaments, that kind of stuff. Let's start off with Advanced Slam. Now, we know this was coming because it's in the new pack for the Alpha Class Star Wing. After you perform a slam action, if you do not overlap an obstacle or another ship, you may perform a free action on your action bar. Now, it used to be any free action, so this means you can't drop bombs. This is probably going to hit the generic K-Wings the hardest. Even with Miranda, I think that she can still take the bomber generator, and I think Miranda won't go away because of this. But it's very cool. It sort of hits something which is hitting the... it hits something that's peeking into the upper echelons of the meta. The K-Wings have been pretty decent for a long time now, so I can understand why they do this. What you got to remember, guys, if you feel like anything in this FAQ is hitting something that you like a bit too hard, remember, this is sweeping reforms across all three factions. So, as bad as your faction was hurt, yeah, the other two factions had it pretty bad as well. And on that note, next one we have for Scum, a tiny mind link, limit 2 per squad. The power level of a tiny mind link when you have 3 of them in a single squad is just insane. I completely understand why they did this. My whole thing with the tiny mind link, honestly, is I never felt the card was too unbalanced. The main reason it got abused was because of the Jumpmaster. That ship with that dial just really abuses a tiny mind link. But they have not changed the Jumpmaster dial. I mean, how can you errata a dial? I completely understand that. So I think this is a fair thing that they've done. It makes perfect sense. It helps just limit the power level of a tiny mind link. I think it's still probably usable at 2 per squad. You can still do like the 2 Jumpmaster and Fen Rao build, but Fen Rao has to take something else. It's not completely out of the question in my mind. I just think it really caps down on that really, really hard abuse of a tiny mind link. So, yep, cool. Good stuff with that. Let's move on to the next one. Now, Genius. Now, this is something, and I have to say, everyone reading this FAQ is going to get salty about something. And as far as my point of view, this is the thing that hurts me the most because I really love Genius, especially on Captain Nim. But then, after that initial reaction I had, I took a step back and I thought, you know what? They're limiting the power level of all these meta builds across the board. This is probably fair enough. Basically, he always let you drop activation phase bombs, as in bombs you don't drop as an action, bombs that you drop before a maneuver, after maneuver instead. Now he reads, after you reveal and execute a maneuver, if you did not overlap a ship, you may discard one of your equipped bomb upgrade cards without the action header to drop the corresponding bomb token. So this hits Genius in 2 ways. First of all, you must complete the maneuver. And that's probably fair enough. If you guys are familiar with the Captain Nim Scum bump and grind tactic of just ramming into your opponent, dropping a bomblet generator bomb, or a proton bomb in my case, that's the thing I like to do. It means he can no longer bump and drop a bomb and get that perfect hit every single time whilst ignoring it himself. And it also says you must discard a bomb without the action header, which means if you take this alongside the bomblet generator, you must discard the bomblet generator in order to use Genius, which really, really hurts Genius. I think this is probably the hardest thing about it. I will say though, I like to fly Genius with extra munitions and proton bombs on Captain Nim, so I think I can still do that combo. I don't think losing out on the ability to bump and drop is going to hurt my build too much, but I think what this comes down to is ultimately Genius with Bomber Generator on Scum Nim was just so brutal, and you have to appreciate the fact that Genius cost 0 points. maybe if he cost 1 or 2 points, they could kind of justify it. But the fact that he cost 0 points, and he came out at a time where this combo didn't exist, and they couldn't have possibly have foreseen how powerful Genius was going to be. Maybe they did factor in the fact that, yeah, we now have a ship that wants to take Genius, but they didn't perhaps factor in the whole bump and grind aspect. They didn't perhaps factor in how amazing he was going to be with the bomber generator. So, yep, I completely understand this. I'm sad to see something that iFly get nerfed, but I think it's fair enough. All right, moving on. We have Biggs Darklighter. Okay, this is one of the big ones. From now on, Biggs Darklighter's ability only happens once per game. Once per game at the start of the combat phase, you may choose that until the end of the round, other friendly ships at range 1 cannot be targeted by attacks if the attacker could target you instead. So basically, at the start of the combat phase, you have to say, okay, Biggs Darklighter's ability triggers, and this is the point in the game where his ability triggers. It doesn't happen round after round after round. This is really brutal. I don't think Biggs Darklighter is going to see play after this, which is a kind of a sad thing. I mean, he's been in the meta for such a long time, so it's probably fair enough. In the comment section, if any of you guys fly Rebels, if any of you guys fly Biggs, I want your opinion. Do you think Biggs Darklighter is going to be playable after this? Is there any permutation on Fairship Rebels that's going to be able to really abuse just the once per game aspect of Biggs Darklighter? Honestly, I don't think so. But I'm happy to hear your opinions on that, because I really want to get down to the crux of what's going on there and really decide if that whole archetype has just been nerfed into oblivion. I thought it was interesting that they did this right after they released Lorik. I thought Lorik was a direct method of buffing Biggs. But I guess if you look at it, Lorik is pretty much a more balanced version of Biggs. He doesn't prevent you from targeting other ships, but he gives a massive buff to friendly ships around him. He's still really good alongside, say, Kane and Jarrus. And he's still good in that Fairship Rebels build. Is it possible to make Fairship Rebels with Lorik and not Biggs? That's the question. There's certainly a lot of good options for that build. So it's not like there won't be another option to replace Biggs with. It's just, is that build going to be as effective? That's the question here. I don't really know. Further discussions on that later on, guys. Okay, next. Okay. This is probably the biggest thing out of what's been released today. The Jumpmaster. Indiscriminately, across the board, loses both torpedo slots and the astromech slots. Yes, FFG. You got it. You nerfed the Jumpmaster finally. Now, I know a lot of you guys are thinking, but Nick, they've nerfed the Jumpmaster before. No. They have never nerfed the Jumpmaster. They have only ever nerfed cards that combo with the Jumpmaster. This is a hard errata to a ship's frame across the board. It's unprecedented, but it's absolutely required here. The torpedoes I wasn't so worried about, but the astromech, yep. One of the things about all the different Jumpmaster builds that have come out, every time one of the combos has been errated, it's always the astromechs that changed. Indeed, it used to be the R2 agromech that was the guy that gives you a target lock after you spend a focus token. And they errated how that works with Deadeye, so that whole thing changed. And the crazy thing is, now that is actually back into the build, people have been flying 3 Jumpmasters with Mindlink and that astromech, so you still get all the utility out of all those focus tokens. It's bizarre that they managed to nerf a combo with it, and the combo actually came back after all these separate nerfs. So, yeah, realistically, this hurts the Contracted Scout the most. Interestingly enough, Contracted Scout still has its EPT. It probably loses things that make it really powerful, but they refuse to nerf the Contracted Scout EPT. I think now that it's lost its salvaged astromech, yeah, it's not going to be the nuts thing again. And now that it can't take 3 Etani Mind Links, yeah, okay. I think Contracted Scout, fingers crossed, knock on wood, this is going to be the thing that makes the Jumpmaster balanced. I don't mind if it still gets played. In fact, I hope it still gets played. I don't want things to just get nerfed into oblivion. I think this is just doesn't hurt Dengar, but Dengar I always felt was a pretty big point investment anyway. I mean, Dengar with the title costs the same as Ray or Rear Admiral Shenru, and I think that's fair enough. Dengar is expensive. I know a lot of people still think he's overpowered, but personally, I never felt he's an issue. The low end of the spectrum with the Jumpmasters is where I had the issue. The Contractor Scout can no longer be a torp boat, can no longer abuse salvaged astromechs. Still as an EPT, still as a crew, but I just don't think it's going to have the nuts builds it used to. Still might occasionally see play, but yes, thank you FFG. We needed this so bad. Okay, let's move on through what we got here. Changes on destroyed ships. Condition cards assigned to ships are not removed when that ship is destroyed unless specified on the card. So they have not listed the condition cards that are affected by this, and I, off the top of my head, don't know what condition cards are affected by this. We know, for example, Harpooned does trigger off the back of a ship getting destroyed. You discard it, and then every other ship gets 1 point of damage at range 1. But things like I'll show you the dark side, suppressive fire, I'm not sure which of those don't get removed. So we'll go into that a bit more detail later on. But in the comment section, guys, if there's any particular combo that this is nerfed, let me know because I want to discuss this. All right, let's keep moving down this list. No red. Here we go. Rolling and re-rolling. Rolling dice is different from re-rolling dice. Okay? If an effect references rolling dice, it refers only to the first time a dice is rolled. Such as rolling dice during the rolling dice step. If an effect references re-rolling dice, it only references when you re-roll it during the modify attack dice step. Okay, that's fair enough. I thought that was pretty clear already, especially with things like heavy laser cannon. If you spend a target lock with a heavy laser cannon and you roll a crit, it stays. So I thought this was pretty hard and fast in terms of how it works. But I guess it means Palpatine doesn't work with re-rolling dice because he specifically says rolling. I don't know if you'd want to use Palpatine off of re-rolling dice anyway. Again, guys, I'm not quite sure what particular combo this is referencing. In the comment section, if you know what that is, let me know. But I think that's just a bit of housekeeping. That makes perfect sense. Let's keep moving. Yes, the wonderful attack flowchart that we all love. Blinded pilot now affects feedback array. Yep, fair enough. Let's see, I'll show you the dark side. Additionally, if this card was assigned from Kylo Ren, crew, since the action is still resolved, another action is not chosen. When the card is assigned, if there is no pilot trait damage card remaining in the damage deck, no damage card is assigned. Oh wow, you've got to be careful with that. Just so you know, guys, there's about 7 pilot trait damage cards in the damage deck. So another action is not chosen. So if you assign them the I'll show you the dark side card with the Kylo crew, you don't assign it to them, oh, there's no pilot crew cards and get another action. No, you've just lost your action. So be very, very careful. If you can see on your opponent's squad, most of the pilot cards are face up and there's a whole bunch of face down cards, there's a good chance that I'll show you the dark side is just going to hurt you, and you should probably stop using it at that stage. So just watch out for that. That's good. What else we got? Dash Rendar. When declaring a barrel roll or boost or before executing a maneuver, Dash Rendar must choose whether or not his ability before measuring you, or if you would overlap an obstacle. Okay, cool. So basically what this is saying is Dash Rendar may choose to ignore obstacles. So before you boost or barrel roll or execute a maneuver. So this means it's a bit awkward here. So you could intentionally choose not to activate his ability and then go into an obstacle because that might give you some kind of advantage, I suppose. But the whole idea here is you must say, yes, this turn I am ignoring obstacles. And then you can fly directly over stuff, do your boost and barrel roll stuff. I don't know why you would ever choose not to. But I guess there is some instances where you might. It makes perfect sense, though. If there's any sort of combo that abuses the ability to intentionally take a rock, you now can't do that without shooting yourself in the foot, essentially. So Dash Rendar, just a bit more housekeeping, a bit more neat and tidy. Dengar. When Dengar is attacked on the round that Big's Dark Lighter activated ability activates. Cool. So now they changed Big, so they had to change Dengar as well. That still interacts with Biggs the same way. You still shoot the same ship. You can't shoot Biggs with Dengar ability unless Biggs specifically is the one he's tricking off of. Makes sense. Double Edge. Ooh, okay, here we go. When resolving the ability of Double Edge, the ship can choose to resolve an attack with either its primary weapon or an equipped turret or missile secondary weapon that did not just perform an attack with. Yeah? Isn't that just rewording the text on his card? Secondary weapon attack. Yeah? Okay, fair enough. If a missile secondary weapon was not discarded due to munitions failsafe, the ship cannot use this ability to attack again with that weapon. Well, of course, it would be the same weapon. Again, just housekeeping stuff. I'm not quite sure what that's clarifying. That all made perfect sense to me. I thought that's how the card read anyway. Anyway, moving on. Any more red text around here somewhere? Lieutenant Kestel. Here we go. Lieutenant Kestel's ability can be resolved during the modified defense dice step after the defender rolls defense dice and before the defender modifies them. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So basically, when a ship is defending, if the attacker can modify their dice, it always happens first. And Lieutenant Kestel's ability does not specify that it happens during the modify defense dice step. And it should, just for clarification. It's things like Sensor Jammer, things like Zuckus. It all must always happen before the defender modifies their dice. Which means you can cancel all their blank dice results and they can't then re-roll them for whatever reason. Again, just good housekeeping stuff. It's good to have it in FAQ. I understand that. Sunnybounder. Sunnybounder's ability can trigger after re-rolling any number of dice, including 0 dice. For example, if an effect allowed Sunny to re-roll any number of dice, such as spending a target lock, and 0 dice were re-rolled, if an effect to re-roll any number of dice, Sunny may add 1 additional result. I'm trying to work out what that's trying to go for. Okay, what it's saying is, I could, for example, roll 2 focus results off of Sunny. I could then add a focus result with his ability. I could then spend a target lock to reroll nothing, add a 4th focus result, and then spend a focus token to convert all 4. That seems bizarre, but that's what it seems to be indicating. Sunnybounder's ability triggers before the effect of Heavy Laser Cannon resolves, which I guess means you could roll 4 criticals, add a critical, then convert them all into hits. I guess. Interesting. I don't really understand why that needs clarification. That is a very, very low odds thing, but I guess it's good to have in an FAQ. Sunnybounder can be a bit baffling at the best of times, so yeah, okay, cool. That 0 reroll effect is bizarre to me, but okay, I'm glad they clarified it at least. Nothing else up here, no. Alright, moving down to the upgrade cards. Advanced targeting computer. The TIE Advanced, equipped with an advanced targeting computer, needs to have a target lock on the defender in order to use the ability. The TIE Advanced cannot use a target lock on the defender from a friendly ship equipped with the targeting synchronizer. Yes, correct, because it says specifically you must be locked on the ship. Synchronizer from the requirement, nor can spend a target lock if it uses the advanced targeting computer. Okay, that's really cool. So advanced targeting computer says when I have a ship locked against my ship, I can add a critical result on top of my dice. But if you use the target lock to then re-roll any of your dice, that cannot happen. That's pretty much the way we've all understood it, but it was unclear on the way it was written on the card. So good clarification there. I'm happy to see that. Boba Fett. If Boba Fett is used to discard a card that references by name on another card, such as a score to settle or the ghost title, the corresponding card can no longer reference the other ship properly, a debt to pay and the Phantom respectively. Oh, okay. Yes, because these upgrade cards reference other upgrade cards. I understand that. Okay, fair enough. That's some good clarification there. If Boba Fett is used to discard a card that has Ordnance or Illicit token, or you discard... Oh, okay, so extra munitions now works the same as Jabba the Hutt. Makes sense. So basically, if you discard extra munitions or you discard Jabba the Hutt, the tokens that they left at the start of the game can still be spent in the same way. So that's good to know. Again, just more clarification. Chikatra of Vizago. When an upgrade card is replaced with another upgrade card, it must meet all the same requirements as the old upgrade card. So yes, scum only, small ship only. Good. That's just... It's something that probably didn't need to be clarified, but it's a good thing that it did, because someone somewhere will ask the question. If Chikatra of Vizago is used to replace a cloaking device, the effect of the text of cloaking device stops. And if the ship has a cloak token, that token is not discarded. Again, this is how we understood cloaking device to work, but it's good to have this clarified. So awesome, tick for that. Cluster mines. When a ship is instructed to place cluster mines, such as with the minefield mapper, the tokens are placed in the arrangement described on the bomb reference card. Cool, yep. No fancy schmancy cluster mines for you guys. Dead Man Switch. If a ship with Dead Man Switch flees the battlefield, Dead Man Switch ability resolves before the ship is removed, but is measuring only from the portion of the ship that's still in the play area. Fair enough. If the entirety of the ship is outside the play area, it does not activate. Yep, that makes perfect sense. Good to know. Again, these are very rare instances, but it's good to have these things clarified. Emperor Palpatine. After a ship... because he did another errata. After a ship rolls defense dice and before it resolves the effect of lightweight frame to roll an additional dice, Palpatine can be used on the separate additional defense die. Note that if Palpatine is used for the initial roll, he cannot affect the separate additional defense die. Now, this is interesting. I thought this was how Palpatine always worked. But clearly people have not been completely clear on that. So, okay, fair enough. I always thought, because lightweight frame came out around about the same time Palp was errated, and lightweight frame and Palp interact really well, because you can roll your first two defense dice, and if those come up with blanks, you can go, oh, well, I better use Palp on the last dice just in case. If you really wanted to use Palp somewhere else in the game, so you have a bit more flexibility over him. So that's just been clarified. That's cool. No problem with that. Guidance chip. If a ship with a primary weapon value of 3 or higher uses the effect of guidance chips, it has the option to change one die result to a crit result. It cannot instead choose to change it to a hit. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but I guess if hits can't be cancelled for whatever reason, you might value hits higher over crits. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that uses that combo. Maybe something that uses that combo is about to come out and they're just clarifying this ahead of time. That'd be good. Cool. Feedback array. Using feedback array does not count as an attack and can be used against touching ships and while a ship has the blinded pilot card. Using feedback does not count as an attack and can be used against touching ships and while a ship has a blinded pilot card assigned to it. Didn't blinded pilot just clarify that we can't do that? Okay, I'm going to have to go back to the video and double check that. But yes, that's how we understood it to work. Feedback array cannot be used with a ship is overlapping an asteroid or has either a weapons disabled or cloak token. Yes, that's fair enough. All good. Gunner. If an attacking ship is equipped with both Gunner and IG-88D and there's a friendly IG-88B and an attack misses, the attacking ship can then attack with a secondary cannon while using the effect of IG-88B and then attack with a primary weapon using the Gunner effect. See the timing chart. Okay, fair enough. Because on both IG-88B and the Gunner, it says you cannot perform another attack this round. However, that resolves after the extra attack. So you can do 3 attacks and then be told twice that you can't perform another attack. Well, you don't care. You just perform 3 attacks. That's a really janky combo. I don't think that's going to see much play. But it's good to know that the janky combo is there for those who want to try it. Hotshot Co-Pilot. When a ship with Hotshot Co-Pilot equipped attacks, the defender must spend a focus token after the declare target step. And vice versa when the attacker. So you can't spend the focus token in order to use a piece of ordnance with Deadeye, I guess, is what that means, or like a blaster turret. When spending a focus token this way, it can be used for the cost of an effect such as calculation or weapons guidance. Yep, that's fair enough. It still happens during the modify attack dice step, so that seems fair enough. If the defender has Hotshot Copilot equipped and the attacker cannot modify his dice as from Snapshot, the attacker is not able to spend the focus token and therefore does not spend the focus token. Okay, fair enough. Yep, that all makes sense. Some good housekeeping stuff. M9G8. A ship equipped with M9G8 treats friendly ships as enemy ships for the purpose of target locking. Yeah, so with Bodhi Rook. So Bodhi Rook says you can acquire target locks on enemy ships. All your friendly ships can do that. To any enemy ship at range 1 to 3 of any of your friendly ships. What this is saying is, okay, and that includes friendly ships as well. It's basically a way of getting around future cards that may have specifically said enemy ships. Fair enough. Jabba the Hutt. Any ship has an illicit token described by Jabba the Hutt card. Illicit tokens can be spent, their effect, even if a ship with Jabba the Hutt is destroyed. Fair enough, so he lingers on even afterwards. Those tokens are still usable. Good to know. Minefield Mapper. Okay, thank you, FFG, for clarifying this. Not thank you for taking so long for doing it, but when Minefield Mapper is used, the player chooses a number of equipped bomb upgrade cards to discard. Each card can only be chosen once. That means extra munitions do not give you extra cards to discard with Minefield Mapper. That was vague. That was unclear, and we've been playing these cards not knowing how to play them properly. So if you have extra munitions and Minefield Mapper, that means you can discard those tokens to use Minefield Mapper and then use the cards themselves during the game itself, which is really cool. It's still a great effect, but the fact of the matter is you can't drop twice the amount of cards that you have with extra munitions for Minefield Mapper's effect. It's good. We have it clarified. Oh, thanks for that. Good. All right, excellent. Navigator. Okay, yes, he's just clarifying that it must be on Imperial Boba Fett. When he reveals his dial, he may resolve both abilities, rotate to any bank. Yep, okay, cool. So just clarifying that it's Imperial now. Good to know. Pattern Analyzer. Oh, wow, this is a word sandwich. When a ship activates during the activation phase and uses Pattern Analyzer, the check pilot stress and cleanup steps occur after perform action step ability trigger after a ship executes a maneuver. Still occur after the clean up step. I just read that on autopilot. I didn't take any of that in. If a ship uses Pattern Analyzer and overlaps a debris cloud, the ship moves, resolves perform action step, rolls for damage, resolves, check pilot stress, then receives 1 stress token. Okay, so it's saying if you hit a debris cloud, you don't then get the stress from the debris cloud and then suddenly you're stressed and then you did a illegal maneuver in retrospect. It's just cleaning up the card again. It's how we always understood it to work. Just clarified. Pulse Ray Shield. Now this is another big one. You can't voluntarily use Pulse Ray Shield if you don't have a shield to recover, which is good. We all sort of understood that you could. And now FFG are telling us that we can't, which means we can't do it to abuse the fact that we get a free 1 forward with a Skik or a Kirax. Good to know. Personally, it wasn't a combo that I ever thought was overpowered or anything. It's not a combo that I thought was going to change the game, but it's good to know. Pulse Ray Shield must be used to recover a shield only. That's good to know. All right, moving on. R5P9. Who says at the end of combat you can spend a focus token to recover a shield. Again, you can only do it if there is a shield to recover. I don't know how you would abuse that. I guess if there's something that says whenever you spend a focus token you get some kind of bonus. You have no way of abusing that now. You must have a shield to recover. Again, just good housekeeping stuff. Good to know. Spec Ops training. The proper sequence of events when using this card is as follows. If the ship attacks with a primary weapon from its primary firing arc, it can choose to roll an additional attack die. If it does not roll an additional attack die, it may perform an attack from its auxiliary firing arc. Therefore, if a ship begins attacking with its primary weapon from its auxiliary firing arc, it cannot use the effect of Special Ops training. Okay, so you can't roll an extra dice out the back. Again, it's how we all understood the card to work, but it's just re-clarifying it. That's always good. Targeting Synchronizer. If an enemy ship is locked by a friendly ship with Target Synchronizer, the friendly ship grants friendly ships the attack header, attack lock as attack, but does not alter the cost which is spending a target lock. Friendly ship is locked by a friendly equipped with target synchronizer. Although the friendly ship may not actually have a target lock, it can spend the target lock with target synchronizer. Again, this is how we understood the card to work. Just having some re-clarification. Good to know. Moving on. Yeah, just a bit of Q&A stuff. Nothing too exciting. Okay. But it's those cards, particularly the Jumpmaster, particularly Biggs, Pulsed Ray Shield, and Genius, probably the biggest things for me with this. That's all for today, guys. I'm not going to go too in-depth into this stuff, but it's important that we know all this stuff. Next week, I have a proper sit-down recording session with Justin for a full day, and we're going to discuss the implications of what has happened here with this FAQ. It's big. The meta is wide open. I'm excited. I'm so happy to see some of these ships get knocked down a peg or two. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, like our Facebook page, and I will catch you later.